Hey everyone, this is PuniEsports and welcome to the first video of a brand new series called Punie Showcase. In this series, we look at a variety of games and just talk about its competitive potential, and today we're talking about Holy Stick. This game key was provided by Always Too Late, and if you'd like to check out the game on Steam, make sure you click the link in the description. Holy Stick is a multiplayer side-scrolling shooter that's pretty reminiscent of old-school Flash games. I think it's kind of charming to have the level of ridiculousness that's incorporated in every corner, but regardless of the amount of bonkers activities happening on screen, there's actually a lot of hidden strategy that could be found here. The first comes from the core mechanic of the game, which is your body limbs being your actual health bar. There's no health bar that appears on the screen, but as you take hits, you're slowly losing maybe one arm, two arms, maybe both your legs, which actually directly hinder your ability to play the game. For an example, if you lose one of your legs, you start walking a lot slower, and if you lose both, you're not quite able to jump even. So you're kind of crawling around just hoping your arms can do most of the talking for you. Of course, there are health packets that are placed throughout the map that will regenerate your limbs, which can be good because if you lose both your arms, you're not able to shoot or melee attack. And I think that kind of brings us into the different levels of attacking, which of course you have the primary weapons that are traditionally laid across the map for you to find, kind of almost arcadey Quake style. But depending on the mode, that can change, and we'll get to the modes later. Each of these weapons vary a lot and definitely have their own specific purposes. Whether it's the grenade launcher, the sniper rifle, the assault rifle, each of them have different applications and you'd want to use them at different times. It's also worth mentioning that ammo is a thing in this game, so you will have to keep track of when you need to reload, and there are also ammo packs across the map that will help as a quick reload, which is nice, and it can also give you ricochet bullets depending on whatever game mode you're playing. And sometimes the ricochet bullets can be the deciding factor as to who wins a match. This is because the maps themselves have a lot of cavities and tunnels that allow for bullets to ricochet off of, as well as for explosions from rocket launchers or grenade launchers to come from across the screen and just hit the pixel-perfect object to cause an explosion to hurt you. And that's another thing that makes this game interesting, is that the maps are pretty big and varied. You don't exactly know where your bullet's going to go when you shoot off screen, but the chances of it hitting something important like a oil barrel that explodes or perhaps a smoke bomb. But I think really where the competitive meta could grow is learning what angles to shoot for almost guaranteed damage. But of course, the real thrill of the game comes from when you're face to face with the enemy and you have to quickly navigate where to shoot in order to properly hit their limbs, or just go for the straight up kill. You have a red line that shows where you're aiming, but in the heat of the moment with bullets and explosions going everywhere, it can be kind of difficult to keep track of where it is, basically forcing you to have a lot of focus on where exactly it is you're shooting, because if you start slipping for 1 second, any kind of weapon can take you out. Another helpful point for up-close combat is switching to your melee weapon. Though it takes some time to pull out your frying pan, it can be extremely useful when people are just having trouble aiming at you. If you just find yourself jumping around them while swinging, there's actually a possibility you might win that. It's definitely something you have to work for, but it is an option to have in your tool belt. Now let's get into the different game modes and exactly which ones might have the most competitive potential. Of course, the primary selling point of this game I think is going to be the more party-style gameplay of having 4 free-for-all players on a giant map with wild weapons and sometimes even wild events that can happen depending on the settings of your game, such as blindness or reverse movement. However, for raw competitive gameplay, I think there's still some potential for 1v1 matches in certain game modes. For an example, they have a gun game, which is very similar to other gun games. In fact, it might be called something else, I'm not entirely sure. But in this gun game, essentially whenever you get a kill or maybe a certain amount of kills, your weapon levels up to another weapon. But it also forces each player to learn the different weapons and make sure that in a whim they can switch to it and become the victor in a given situation. But also, as bananas as it might seem, I think the rocket launcher mode in a 1v1 situation could be seen as a competitive endeavor. It's very much more of a one-shot kill situation, and you're definitely going to get killed from places you're not entirely sure where. But going in with that expectation, there's actually a lot of intensity and opportunities to play extremely smart and quick, which are the two biggest components of competitive play. Now, this isn't to say that you can't do the regular party modes with 4 players free-for-alls in a tournament environment, but I definitely think the intensity, thrill, and suspense is what makes the competitive viability possible. Ultimately, Holy Stick is a fun, goofy game that has a lot of hidden strategy elements that could definitely be incorporated into more competitive events such as tournaments or even just random grudge matches, and facilitate a community that's actively working towards raising the skill ceiling. So this has been a Punie Showcase. Again, you can check out the game by clicking the link in the description. It is available on Steam. I hope that you guys enjoyed. Make sure you subscribe and comment if you'd like to see more of these videos, and I'll see you guys in the next Punie Showcase.